Hello and welcome. My name is Kate Griffiths from Whole Self Leadership, and I'm coming on today because I want to talk to you about the current energies and what's going on. I think it's a really exciting time. Friday was the start of a new year, and you might think I've gone slightly mad because we're in the middle of February, and those of us in the Western calendar, New Year started on the 1st of January, but it's actually the start of the Chinese New Year because that follows a lunar cycle. And I've always been really fascinated by that because from an early age I was out in Hong Kong with my parents, and my father and mother stayed out there for 25 years. So I have quite a strong connection with Chinese astrology. And then thanks to some, contacts, I was put in touch with Nick Haynes from 5 Institute, who does amazing work with the 5 elements that you find in Chinese medicine, making sense of them. So that has helped to inform how I look at this from a colour perspective. I just want to share some bottles with you. So let me get the first one. This is the first one. What do you make of that? How do you feel about it? Don't censor anything, it's all information. You see, it's a very solid colour. It's actually a copper bottle. Yeah, so I don't know, you might think it's wonderful. It's not a bottle that often gets picked by clients. We call it the core because it is at the core, the heart of Earth. And we are really connected to the Earth. If you think about it, we come from dust and we go back to dust. And in the Native American traditions, they refer to rocks as grandmother and grandfather because they have this understanding, as many shamans do, that we are very connected to nature, whether we see it or not. And I felt this was a really important bottle this year for 2 reasons, or 2 or 3. It's a metal ox year in the Chinese system. And what do you think of when you think of oxes? In many respects, it reminds me of, my own Western astrology horoscope, and I am a Taurus, and I always think, God, that's really dull actually, because Taurians are really boring and plod and practical, a bit like the ox. But actually, they're really reliable, and you can if they give you their word, you can depend on them, and they will deliver. And that gives you a sense of some of the energy of this year, and it links to Earth because actually things grow in the Earth. The earth holds plants and holds the seeds, and then slowly over time some shoots appear, but it takes quite a long time, and it takes that consistency, watering your plants on a regular basis so that they get fed the seeds, and so they become these green shoots. But the green shoots come quite a long time afterwards, so it takes dedication and time. And also, if we think about it, copper is made up of 3 elements, an equal measure, 3 colours: red, blue and yellow. In fact, all the primary colours. So it tends to represent a solid foundation. And if you think about the story in the Bible about the man who built his house on the sand and it all blew down in the first storm, whereas if you build it on rock, then it will withstand virtually anything. So it's much more solid. So that's an aspect of this year. Solid, dependable. You might say plodding and consistent. And that's what the earth represents. And it's funny, it's probably why I started pretty much in mid-January, started a copper journey with some of my clients, because we really need this energy right now. It's a good way of combating the chaos that we see all around us in the world. and the confusion that that brings. And you may have that sense of overwhelm yourself. But all is well and all will be well, as Julian of Norwich herself said. All that you are required to be right now is to trust in life without seeing the outcome, knowing in your innermost part of your body that all is going to work out. And so it comes through a solid connection with nature. And that brings me to another aspect that often comes up in copper, and that's the physicality. So I noticed for myself as I started this particular copper journey, a real need to get outside on a regular basis. And I often find if I get consumed by work, I can be doing it for 4 or 5 hours without a break, but actually I get quite stuck sometimes and I'm no longer in flow. And what helps me is to actually build it in earlier in my day, not right at the beginning of the day because I'm still slowly waking up. But then once I've been awake for a while, before I start into the work of the day, going out for a walk can really help set me up for the day. So think about your own rhythms and routines, because that's really important in this year. You know, it's not a particularly challenging year in many respects, this slow, steady pace. And yet it's important to really get into yourself and get to know who you are and love who you are and the way that you operate while you can, because there's some big change coming in the next couple of years, particularly in 2024. So really use this time. So as we said, it's building a foundation, the physicality, and the solidity that you get with earth, the practical nature of it, dependable nature of it, our connection to Mother Earth, who we are at the core of our being. So get to know that so that you know you can depend on you, because our relationship with ourselves is the most important relationship we ever have. And if we, reassemble the letters of the word earth, they make the word heart. And that, I think, really encapsulates some of the importance of all of this and the warmth that can come from the earth. And then that actually brings us to our second bottle, this beautiful bottle here. Take a look at that. How does it make you feel? Don't ignore anything. Be aware of the associations, the words, the memories that come up. It's all information. It's another double bottle. It's a double platinum with a shimmery gold top. And the reason that that's there is because part of what we do through the copper is letting go of what no longer serves us. So that might be decluttering, or that might be emotional stuff that's been hanging around. And why do we do that? I mean, it's obvious really with the physical stuff. It creates space. But it also does that on an energetic level, creates space for the new to come. And that's what platinum is all about. It's a really future focused bottle, saying there is, something coming, this new way of being. So we need to clear the deck so that we can be present and allow space for that new to unfold and unfurl in our lives. And that's the promise of that double platinum. It's called the Om bottle, the sound of creation. So there's also this sense of, if there's some real stillness, if you can get to the essence of you through stillness, then you can actually experience the sound of creation. Imagine that. How incredible is that? And that is the promise. And then we come to the only spritzer that I want to show you today. And this is really important because this represents the element. So it's an ox year, but it's a metal ox year, and this is the colour of metal. And you really, there you go, you can see it better in the colour. So see how that makes you feel, how you feel about that sort of goldy yellow colour. Yeah, there you go, there you get it, see it at its essence. Look at that. Beautiful, isn't it? That is metal. And it's important to understand what metal is all about. So how did that make you feel, that spritzer? I mean, gold is often about coming into our sovereignty, and when we look at the actual bottle of 2021, the 21 bottle, it's all yellow and gold. And so it is about stepping into our personal sovereignty. What does that mean to you? You know, I was talking to a client about it the other day, and what I was saying is it's really about, there's an energy about you where people won't take you for granted, where people won't muck you about. And the challenge is, it sounds like, okay, yeah, I can do that, but why is it that people are finding that hard to do? Because with metal, there's this sort of fear of missing out. It's writ large. And you think, oh, what am I missing? And this sense of lack. And so if we get into that place, it's hard to be in your own personal sovereignty. The more you can let go with the copper, the more you can surrender. You realise actually none of this is personal, and it's simply an energy signature of the year. So you don't have to get involved with that. You don't have to see all of that coming through, because part of what we saw with the platinum bottle that we just saw, that double platinum with a gold top, is an elegance, a simplicity, which is also an aspect of metal. So when we can get into that, and when we can get that degree of detachment, then wow, we can really create something new. And that's the promise, and that's the alchemy, if you like, that sits within that metal spritzer, taking base metal and transferring it and transforming it into gold. I mean, how magical is that? Let's think about that for a moment. And as we do think about that, I want to bring us to our last bottle. This is the higher note of the year in some respects. So let me just show that to you. This metal ox year, we have this beautiful bottle. What do you think about that? How does it make you feel? It's got the gold of the metal on the top and the copper bottom. I think it's an amazing combination, and in many respects it reminds me of the colours of Africa, that sort of gold and coppery colours of the earth. The bottle is called Earth Wisdom. So it's, you know, if you relate it to yourself, when you are grounded and you're in yourself and you've got your roots solidly and firmly in the earth, so even if the most chaotic madness happens, you can bend and flex with what's going on, and you're not crushed and overwhelmed by it, because you are connected to Mother Earth. And whether you can see into the future through the platinum or not, you trust and have that inner knowing that all will be well in the fullness of time. And then the gold is the connection to your own sovereignty, to your own sense of power in your solar plexus, connecting you in. You know, it's, as it says, it's time to stop acting like God and be God, because you have the divine within you. Your energy signature is a signature of the divine, not the whole of the divine, but a part of the divine. We are each divine. And the more we can connect to that knowing and feel it, embody it within our bones, within our soul, then we don't need to get caught up in the games on this earth of who's got more likes than me, have I done enough posts on LinkedIn or Instagram, or what's happening with my YouTube videos, or whatever it is, because all of that is just nonsense. It doesn't really get to the essence of who you are or what you're about. And that's what these colours are saying. The more you can step into those, the more you can let go of appearances and other people's way of doing them. Or as I was, in a group today, we were talking about the herd mentality, and see that for what it is. That, if we just follow a whole load of other people, if they jump off a cliff, are you going to jump off the cliff? No. But, if we're charging because we feel we're in panic and everyone else is charging around us, we might not be able to stop ourselves falling off the cliff. That's why you need your roots. You need to connect deep in the earth so that you've then got the space and the room to look up and see the vision that's unfolding in the sky, which is the connection we get through that starry platinum bottle that we saw. And then the metal helps us to create the alchemy by taking the base metal, whoever we are, whatever we are, and creating perfection so that we can have heaven on earth. Because that's who we are really. At the bottom of all this, there's a solidity to you, to me. And the more we know and love ourselves, know ourselves at our core and who we are becoming, the more excited we can become about what the future holds, because we know that the chaos that's happening in any given moment is temporary. It's not here forever. It's paving the way to something new, something better. So that gives you a taste of the year to come. And what could on one level seem like a really dull year, I think it has huge potential in terms of step by step, sowing and planting, and consistently showing up in our businesses or on the different platforms, in the different groups and worlds that we inhabit. Leading the way as pioneers, which is what you do in that gold colour. Holding that space in the earth so that people can come together and create something new. All of this is possible. So I really hope it inspires you to go out and create yourself. Do leave a comment. I will respond to any comments. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.